Hey, thanks a ton, Justin. And ladies and gentlemen, thrilled to be back again with my guest, Dr. Pawan Goenka, who all of you know. As we always do at NASSCOM, we save the best for the last. So thrilled to have Dr. Goenka join us today to talk about the so-called new norm and how do we go about creating it. And I can't wait to hear his perspective. But Dr. Goenka, before we get started with the business of COVID and the business of the industry, I have a burning question for you, which all the viewers want to know. Who do you think is going to win IPL?
That one is an easy one to answer.
Tell us.
Probably Mumbai Indians.
Mumbai Indians. You and I are going to have a bit of a problem because I'm like all for Dhoni. So, but anyway, fingers crossed.
Pleasure to be here with you today. We had some technical difficulties yesterday. I hope that it goes through well today.
Thank you so much. So, Dr. Goenka, jumping into it, and I was very inspired by one of your speeches that I heard, where you talked about how this is an opportunity for the auto industry. And I believe this is an opportunity for every single industry. It's just that we have to see it as an opportunity. And we have to realize that leveraging this opportunity is going to require a different playbook. The old playbook is not going to work. What, according to you, should be the core building blocks of this new playbook that we build so that we can shape the new normal?
So Debjani, it's a very burning question that all of us have in front of us. That undoubtedly COVID-19 has brought in the kind of hardship, the kind of crisis that is unprecedented, and we hope it never ever happens again. But it also brings what I would call godsend opportunity for us. In various fields. It doesn't matter which industry you are in, whether you are manufacturing, service, auto, anything else. But it's something that will not fall in our lap by itself. We have to work for it.
Yeah.
It's an opportunity given to us, but we have to work for it to make it happen. And no amount of incremental change in our thinking, in our behavior, in our actions is going to get us there. It has to be something where we totally redefine the game. Okay, certain things will happen by force with a gun on our head because of COVID-19, and certain things we have to make happen if we really want to take advantage of the opportunity that is ahead of us. And that's really, I truly believe that is the case, and many Indians believe that is the case, but most of us are struggling to kind of know what to do about it.
I mean, it's still, it's sad, but it is a fact that a lot of leaders are still sitting and hoping and praying that the old normal comes back, which I don't believe is likely to happen. I mean, there will be some sort of a normal setting in at some point. We are resilient people, but it's not going to look like the old normal. And in this kind of when you have this opportunity, because this new norm is not going to get created by a magical force. It's going to get created by what we do and how we act today. So if you could, mandate 2-3 change in behavior or action today, which would shape that new norm, into something that would benefit India, benefit with industry, what would they be?
Let me first say that belief that the new norm should come back somehow or other, I don't think is what we should be hoping for. What we should be hoping for is best of the two. The COVID-19 has taught us many things. And I think these are some of the things that are for good, which is going to improve our industry, our lives, in fact. And we need to wish that even after the gun is off our head, we don't go back to the previous way. And there's certain thing that we hope that COVID-19 has forced us to do, which we are able to get out of. So, for example, in the auto industry and many manufacturing industry, we have learned that inventory management can be totally redefined. And when I look at the auto industry only and the kind of inventory that we keep between our suppliers, ourselves, our dealers, we can easily take off 20 days. And 20 days means 50,000 crore of working capital off the table. Now, we should never ever think that we should go back to the old level of inventory that we keep. Okay, the way the digitalization is coming in our sales process should be here to stay. We should never wish for us to go back to the way we were. Now, the industry would have probably gotten here in 5 years, but COVID-19 has forced us to do it in 2 months.
Yeah,
and we should wish that it does not go back. Right. The kind of reduction in fixed cost that we are able to manage because of forced conditions, it's almost eye-opener. I mean, sometimes we wonder, why were we spending that money? Right? And therefore, those things should not go back. And the biggest thing that COVID-19 has taught us is that work from home works. I was one of the non-believers. I never thought that work from home will ever work, except in plants and showrooms it doesn't, but for office work, I never thought it will work. But I am a total convert. And I think it's working so beautifully that the benefit it's bringing in for efficiency, productivity of white collar, senior management, clerks is unbelievable. It's mind-boggling. Right? The number of meetings that one can have in a day, one in Delhi, one in Chennai, one in Paris, and one in New York.
Yeah.
All with as much effectiveness as it would have happened if you had traveled all the way to these places, is something that we have learned by force, but something that should stay with us now for good. So first of all, I would say that we should not hope to get back to the old normal. The new normal in many ways is very good. But what we obviously need to get out of is this fear. The fear that, who am I with? Who am I seeing? Should I move away? Somehow we have to get out of it, because the life is becoming too suspicious. Every person you come in contact with is, oh, is he or she carrying the virus? Should I shake hand? Should I not shake hand? Should I come close? That fear we have to get out of, right? The constant disruptions that happen because of something going wrong somewhere, oxygen is not there, so it has to go into healthcare industry and not go into industry, some local lockdowns, those day in, day out kind of disruptions we have to get out of. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to get the best of both. And the best of both is going to be better than what we had pre-March 25th. This is my belief. And that's what we should look for.
I cannot agree more with you. And I think you talked about the auto industry, but I think it's so true for every industry, including the tech industry. I mean, work from home is going to outlive COVID, whether we like it or not, but it is here to stay. The kind of productivity gains that we have seen from this model, we cannot give up on it. Absolutely cannot give up on it. Absolutely. I also believe that, this situation has brought to front, at least for our industry, for the tech industry, a few things which will give India, or can give India, a competitive advantage in the world. First is, it's brought to front the importance of talent. And this is where you really have to define what talent means for you. And what skills you're looking for, because they are changing so drastically, right? But the importance of talent for building your competitive advantage, I feel, is much better understood now than it ever has been in the past. And I hope that doesn't go away. The second thing, which can be a dual-edged sword, is also the whole focus on trust. You talked about fear. Do I trust you enough to know that you will keep your distance and wear your mask for me to come and sit down and have a cup of coffee with you? I'm giving a very simple example, but trust has become it's become the basic factor for any decision making today, right? And would love to hear your perspectives on, and maybe there's more out there, what are those things that India can leverage to make a competitive advantage for India overall?
So again, as I said earlier, that opportunity is there, but we have to grab it.
Yeah.
Okay? And it requires total rethinking, no matter whether you're government, whether you are service industry, whether you are manufacturing industry, total rethinking. Okay? There are certain industries that would suffer, okay, that we can do nothing about. Okay.
Yeah.
For example, hospitality, it will never be same again. Travel will never be same again.
Yeah.
Okay? Those industries will have to suffer. I mean, there's nothing we can do. But where is India's strength? The whole tech, IT tech, is India's biggest strength that we have today. And the way the world is moving, it's almost like jumped 3 to 4 years to how the digital will come into our lives, right? The kind of fillip that Zoom and Teams have gotten because of COVID-19,
Yes.
they have probably
Yes.
struggled 5 years to get there, right? And the kind of role that Indian industry can play, the ER&D industry can play in taking a pole position in a very strong manner. And we have to move away from the mindset of cost arbitrage.
Yeah.
It's not about cost arbitrage.
Yeah.
We have to be leading with products.
Absolutely.
We
And I'll ask you a related question to that. Do you think India really has the innovative mindset? I struggle with that one, Dr. Goenka. I honestly struggle with that one because I would love to say yes, but if I'm really honest, I think that's the one thing we lack. Would love to hear your perspective on it.
I would also love to say yes, but I will hesitate to say yes. Okay. Now let me clarify. I think Indian scientists, professors, technocrats have an innovative mindset. Okay. However, it is innovation in a silo.
Yeah.
They are not able to take the innovation mindset to the end objective of a product or service. Because innovation which does not lead to a product or service is like singing in the forest which nobody is listening.
Useless.
Right?
Yeah.
So that is missing. Now, that is missing for two reasons. One, our technologists tend to be, I don't want to generalize, but they tend to be introvert. Okay, they are in their own box, doing their own things, very proud of it, rightfully so. And they somehow believe that somebody will come and pick it from there and take it forward. But marketing is a must, no matter who you are and what you do. So even if you are the world's best scientist, you have to also be a good marketeer. And many of our technologists are not good marketeers. I'm chairman of IIT Madras Board of Governors. And I keep telling them that when I meet you and listen to your research work, I'm so impressed. But you have to learn how to sell your work, not in terms of money, but to be able to convince the other side that believe in this research and let's use it. Right? When I look at the work that is being done in IITs and look at the work that is being done in well-known US universities, they're very similar. But the US university professor will impress us more when we listen to him or her than a professor here. This is what we need to change. That is one big thing. Second big thing is that I hate to say it, but the senior management in industry does not give enough importance to long-term R&D. And I'm also senior member of the industry, so I'm saying it to myself in some sense. But we are not giving enough importance to long-term R&D. We're quite happy to look at what happens in the next 5-year product cycle.
Yeah.
But what happens 3 product cycles from now? And what do I need to work on today to bring the 3 product cycles from now? We are not doing enough now. So I would probably blame less on the innovative mindset than more on a pull for the innovation, not created by the users of innovation and not helped by the creator of innovation. And that's where, but I really truly believe when I talk to DRDOs, ISROs, CSIR lab people, IIT, IISc. I am truly impressed with what they can do. But unfortunately, it's not getting to the end result. And that's what we need to work on, how to, and that if we have that, Debjani, in addition to what we have, there's no stopping us. There's so much going for us. There's so much going for us. If we can just have that, there's no stopping us.
Completely agree with you. And the 2 points you raised are so pertinent. Storytelling. In fact, I was so surprised. Over the weekend, I was doing a quick small course on just upskilling myself on data science. And there was 50% of that course was about storytelling. That you're not a successful data scientist if you can't tell the right stories.
Storytelling. I'm glad you mentioned that word. But storytelling is very important art that very few people have.
Yeah.
Life is full of stories.
Yeah.
Life is full of stories. You need to tell your story. Whether you are a parent, you are a teacher, you are a professor, you are a CEO,
scientist,
you are an artist, you have to tell your story. Because if you don't tell the story, nobody knows what the story is.
Absolutely. And the long-term focus, I think you hit the nail on the head. I think that is definitely a huge gap that we see, the long-term focus on innovation. And talking about long-term focus on innovation in the automotive sector, right? What should be the area? Should we be? Some people think it's crazy, but should we be really brave and think long-term about market creation and looking at completely new areas? Or should we be chasing innovation? What's your advice to the automotive sector?
So let me put 2-3 things and bring them together. One of the India's big advantage is frugal innovation. What we can do in our labs, scientific labs, for $10 will probably take $25 in the Western world with the same quality of output. So frugal innovation is our strength, and that we need to use. Product development cost coming out of frugal innovation is also our strength. Even today, after so many years, Indian product development in our industry and many other industries probably will be half the cost of what others will do. So that is our strength that we must work on. What is not our strength today is ability to convert basic R&D into applied R&D. Right? That ability is not there, and unfortunately or fortunately, it is very easy for us to go out and access these things on a platter for a few dollars or a few $100 or a few $1 million, right? And therefore, we take that easy route of go out there, access it, bring it in, use it, we are happy, right? If we didn't have that access available, in some sense, this access is coming in our way of innovation. If we didn't have that access available, we'll be forced to do it. So let's say I'm developing a car, okay? If I can go out today and get technology for everything that I need to put in, my incentive to go to an IIT and say, let's start a research project on combustion or on emission or on vehicle dynamics is lower, because there's always some risk of these things happening or not happening, versus going to a world's best renowned consultant and get it for me, right? So what we need to do is both. We cannot be kind of saying, no, I'm not going to go out, I'll do everything on my own. That will be foolhardy. But I have to say that India will get respect in the world, not because of a low cost of labor, but India will get respect in the world because we have technology, we have IPR, we have innovations. And if we have to get that respect in the world, while we run our business today using technology that we license from our joint venture partners or from consultants or whatever, we also have to look at how do I develop technology for tomorrow that will be my technology. Okay. and not something that I have licensed. And nobody will give you respect in the world, Debjani, if you don't bring technology.
Cannot agree more with you.
Bring a manufacturer, people will buy your product because they happen to be somewhat lower cost than what you get from somewhere else, but you will not get respect. And if India wants to become one of the top economies, if India wants to become the service provider in few selected areas to the world or manufacturer for a few products in the world, we have to get respect. Respect means we have to have a brand. The only industry for which India has a brand is IT. There's not a single industry, maybe pharma a little bit, okay? But other than that, which industry does India have a brand for? Name me one branded product, not service, one branded product in India that creates a price premium in the world.
Yeah.
One. I cannot find one.
No.
And we cannot aim to be second largest economy or third largest economy in the world if you don't have a single product in the world that we can sell at a premium. And that will come from many things. I mean, obviously you have to market, you have to do many other things, but the core of it is that you have to have the technology. You have to own the technology.
Absolutely.
It makes sense, but that's kind of what I believe.
And that ties in so beautifully to this entire concept of Atmanirbhar. You know, India is talking, everyone right now, it's fashionable to talk about Atmanirbhar, right? But Atmanirbhar, to me, has to be about, you know, not just acquiring the technology and finishing out the products, but it has to be about innovation. It has to be. We cannot be Atmanirbhar if we are not innovating and creating the products and technologies of the future. How do we do that, Dr. Goenka? What has to fundamentally change, you think?
Okay, so let me first kind of echo what you said, that Atmanirbhar in the beginning was a very misunderstood phrase. I think it's a very powerful phrase, very powerful.
It is.
But it was misunderstood, meaning boycott all import. Okay,
yeah.
That's not what the intent was, and now people understand that Atmanirbhar doesn't mean that you go into a cocoon and put all these sort of fences around you. Nobody can come in, nobody can go out. Right? Atmanirbhar to me, first of all, is to take pride in what you do, what your country does. We have to have that pride, and we have to kind of say that we need to be world's best in few things, not in everything. Anybody who thinks we can become world's best in everything is fooling himself, right?
Amen.
We decide that these are the 4 manufacturing sectors, 3 service sectors that we can become world's best. And then put all our energy, all our might behind those sectors. Then you say that nobody can come up with any regulation that will go against this sector become the best in the world. Whatever it might be, whatever sector you decide. But then you say nobody can do anything. No industry, no government officer, no court, no NGO can do anything that can go against those sectors becoming best in the world. And we can do it. It's not that difficult to identify which are the sectors where we can become the best, where we have the right to win. And if you don't have a right to win, you cannot win. Okay, so we have to create that right to win ourselves. Nobody's going to come and say, here, I'm handing over this thing to you, now you can win. We have to create the right to win. So how do we do it? Identify sectors. Right? It's not going to be very difficult once you identify the right sector to know what are the disabilities that we carry in those sectors. Not very difficult to know. Okay. Any consultant, even industry people, within 3 to 4 months can do a very beautiful analysis and tell the disabilities that we face, which does not allow us to become the best in the world in these sectors, provided we have chosen the right sectors. Not if we have chosen politically correct sectors, but if you've chosen the right sectors, we can create the right to win. And then go after it. The biggest thing missing, Debjani, in my view, in India, is partnership. Partnership between government and industry, partnership between OEM and suppliers, partnership between banks and business, partnership between business and customers, partnership between business and NGOs. That partnership is missing. Everybody is going in different directions.
Yeah.
And partnership means everybody comes together and works to a single goal. India is not void of anything, but there's too much misalignment. Arrows going all over different directions. Just align these arrows. And we are there. It's not that difficult. Tech pharma, an industry where we have done quite well. Right? We can probably do 2 times, 3 times as well as we've done. But it won't happen tomorrow. It will take 3 to 5 years of work. There is no silver bullet. Industry people know what needs to be done. Government knows what needs to be done. Nobody needs to be taught. We just have to do it. Sometimes it's political risk, and sometimes it's a business risk. And business also has a role to play. I'm not saying that government has a role to play. Business has a role to play because, why? Auto industry imports $15 billion, $17 billion of components every year. $17 billion is almost, 1.5 lakh or so, right? Who is to blame for it? Auto OEMs. I am looking for saving that 1 paisa in a component and go to China or Thailand or somewhere, but not willing to give that 1 paisa extra to my supplier here so that he gets the scale and becomes as competitive as somebody in China or Thailand. And the suppliers look for tariff barrier, and which is the absolutely wrong thing to do. Tariff barrier will never, ever make you competitive.
Yeah.
Because your growth has to come not from just reducing import, it has to come from growing export. And growing export competitiveness will not come by having tariff barriers. So tariff barriers may be to take care of a specific problem for some time, but that's not become our sort of weapon against import. The weapon has to be how do we make ourselves most competitive so that nobody can sell something in India at a lower cost than our suppliers can. So business has a role to play, government has a role to play, and I think if we do it together, it can be done, but there has to be a holistic, long-term, 3 to 5 years strategy where we don't deviate from. It doesn't matter who the government is. And if we do it, we'll get there. And I can also tell you, Debjani, that the opportunity that we have today probably will not come again.
It won't. It totally won't.
It won't come again.
It won't. This one is ours to lose. This one is really ours to lose. We have to decide what we want to do. What we've just outlined should be India's champion sector plan. That's what the champion sector strategy should be doing. Picking these sectors that we are going to bet all on. No matter what, and we are not going to take our eyes off the ball again, no matter what, government changes or anything happens, we're not going to take our eyes off the ball, and but without that level of commitment, you're so right. And Dr. Goenka, it's not impossible to do it, right? It's absolutely not impossible.
Do it at all. And not just champion sectors. I would go one step further. I would say we also have to have national champions.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
the weakness you called out, partnerships, that's a critical one because we are not just entering, I think we have entered an era of co-creation. It's all about co-creation where domains and technology sectors are coming together. And if you don't know the fine art of partnership, you're doomed. I think this is something we have to figure out. I can go on talking to you forever. It is just so wonderful hearing you. I can't tell you, we have to get you back for more sessions. It is just fabulous hearing you. But I have one last question for you, Dr. Goenka, which is talk to us a bit about what Mahindra is doing to build this culture of innovation, the mindset innovation in the company.
So, see, if I go back almost to the time when I got hired into Mahindra,
When was that?
27 years ago.
Wow.
Okay? Anand Mahindra told me at that time that, Pawan, I want somebody to come in and bring in the culture of R&D and innovation in India. And I will give you a blank check to do whatever you have to do to make that happen. Right? That was an offer made to a person who was doing R&D work. And that offer is irresistible offer to any person who is interested in R&D. Right? And I must say that the company remained true to that promise and allowed us complete freedom to bring in technology, to bring in R&D, to bring in innovation. And today, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we probably have more number of patents in India of an Indian company than any other company in our area of business. I may be wrong, but I think that is true. Now, what have we done? We have done 2-3 things. First of all, we said that, look, we are starting from a position of disadvantage, okay? Because we are very far behind. And therefore, let's not have an arrogance to say that we are going to develop everything on our own, learn everything ground up, and become the best in the world. We said there are few things that we'll do well, just like we talk about industry, and few things where we are going to depend on others, okay? And that's what we've done over the years to get to a point. And then we said that same thing true for the people that we recruit. I cannot hire only GETs and make them experts in any field and run the business like that. So we have mix of people that we've hired even from outside India, from within India, GETs, experienced. Okay. But then the most important thing, I think, was to give the infrastructure for innovation. And that's what we have done in our research center in MRV near Chennai, suburbs of Chennai, where we have created this sort of temple of learning, as we call it, right? And give a lot of freedom to people to explore and sometimes maybe even take a suboptimum decision, suboptimum from short-term viewpoint of counting on our own innovation to do a product, than to take a tried and tested idea from outside, okay? And it has probably cost us some business benefit over the years, but we said that that's the only way we are going to get to a point where we have all the technology required, innovation required to get to that point. And sometimes we have taken a leap of faith. Electric vehicles, for example. When we got into electric vehicles in 2010, nobody in India was talking electric. It was only about 3 years ago, 4 years ago that we were talking about electric. And we said at that time that we as India have missed the bus in many emerging fields. Can we ensure that electric vehicle we don't miss the bus? That was our starting point, right? I'm afraid that if we don't do, I'm a little bit digressing, but if we don't do right things, we could miss the bus in electric vehicles also and hand it over to somebody else on a platter. You talked about earlier technologies. I said this is one of the technologies where India has to make sure that we are the technology leaders in a specific sub-segment of electric vehicles, not the whole electric vehicle. Right?
I agree.
And for that, we are investing a lot of money. We have 200 plus R&D employees in Bangalore. We are investing in an R&D center, one of a kind in India. We have invested in capacities. So I think it's a question of taking a long-term view, putting the right investments in infrastructure and in people, and allowing ourselves to fall down, get up again, walk, fall down, get up again, and walk. And that is what, in fact, I'm learning more and more so from startups. Because if I compare a startup to a mature, large organization, the benefit startups have is they're quick to fall and quick to get up. And we don't like to fall, and once you fall, we take forever to get up. So that's I guess will be place to. And I don't know if I've answered your question. I've blabbered a lot, but I don't know if I've answered the question.
Oh, you have. It's just absolutely fantastic. Dr. Goenka, it's just so fabulous talking to you. I'm hopeful. I think with leaders like you, we may falter a bit, but I think India will ultimately get its act together. I will continue to stay hopeful, and I think all of us can play a role there. And I have to tell you, I have a very high standard for role models, and there are very few people out there who I'd really call role models. But today I have found myself a new role model. You are just so wonderful. The perspective you bring, the way you think, it is the need of the hour. It is absolutely the need of the hour. And I just hope, and we will all do what we can to ensure these thoughts are being heard. Not just heard, but we can act on it, because this is what will define that the future is ours. So thank you so much, Dr. Goenka.
Thank you, Debjani. It was a
You're an
pleasure.
absolute gem. Thank you, and look forward to talking to you again sometime soon.
Thank you.